that's what the box shows. That's what you get. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about everything you see behind me, air purification systems. So as you can see, I got quite a bit of air purifiers behind me. These are HEPA. Some of them are H13, which is the newer style HEPA. Some of them are the regular HEPA. I'm going to try to describe that the best I can. So as you can see, all this stuff behind me, this is about $2,000 worth of air purifiers off of Amazon. Which one's the best? Which one do I like the best? And I'm going to go through each one and tell you what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and which one I would recommend you to buy if you was out looking for an air purification system. If you're somebody that has suffers with allergies, you're gonna want to watch this video. Somebody that's allergic to pets or cats or anything you can imagine that you could be allergic to. If you suffer from allergies, this is a video you're gonna want to watch, because these things make a world of difference, because you spend a lot of time in your house and you want the air that you breathe to be clean and pure. And also the air in your bedroom is the most important, because you spend all that time sleeping. So let's get started. And I want to name the types of purifiers that I have behind me. And also, if you can see that one all the way in the corner right there, that's a Kenmore Progressive. I've had that for 14 years. That's old trusty over there. It's been amazing. It's a HEPA. It's just an old style HEPA. And I've had that for 14 years. It sounds amazing. I sleep with it every night. And it's got a good sound to it. And I know that it filters air. But as you can see that I'm moving on. New technology here. So I've got a Bissell Air 320, which is right here. I've got a Alen BreatheSmart 45i, which is right here. And I've got a Medify Airx Ma-40, and it's in this box right here. And you can see there's two of them, but I've got one out of the box, which is right here. And then the two little boxes right there is a Medify, and I've got one out, Medify Airx, and it's a 25. Ma-25 is the model. And then the smallest one right here is a LeVoit, and it's a desktop. The model is LVH128. And I'll go through each one of those things. I'll tear them apart, show you what the filters look like inside, because that's something on Amazon. You're looking through all the pictures and you can't really tell what it looks like, even when you get the box. A good example is these filters show this, as it says a pre-filter right there, then it says a HEPA H13 filter right here, and then this filter right here. I'll show you what it actually looks like in the machine. It don't look anything like that. Alright, so the first one that I want to talk about is the smallest one right here. And this is a LeVoit. And it's just a desktop filter. And I'll turn it on. So it's got a sleep mode, a low, and a high. So there's low, and there's high. So as you can see, this thing is pretty quiet. The filters on it, it's a little bit more, it's probably the most difficult out of all of them to get the filters. And I say filters because it's got two. So you got to flip this thing on its back, and it's got this little thing right here. It says close tighten, and you twist it like this way, and then this pops off. And then the filters, which they slide out right here, this thing, it absolutely feels like air. Like, this filter feels like nothing. So it's got two filters, and they slide in. I mean, they fit pretty tight. They have this foam stuff. they fit pretty tight, and that's pretty important to me, is if the filter fits tight around the frame, if it's going to let dust and debris pass the filter seal. So the first thing that I notice is the outside layer right here. So if you shine a flashlight through these things, there's not much to this thing. So the outside of this, like, the pre-filter is almost non-existent, and that's pretty important to me, because that's the thing that you vacuum off. If dust gets down in there in these deep grooves, which this is about 1 inch thick right here, you can't really vacuum it anymore, because then it gets all clogged up. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say about this thing. It probably serves its purpose as being a desktop filter, but as far as it fitting your needs, like, is it going to actually clean the air? Would it be good for a bedroom filter? I would probably pass on this thing from LeVoit. Here it is on Amazon. This thing's 59 bucks. If you buy it today, I got it for 49, so it's about 50 bucks. It's the #1 new release. And I wrote each one of these. I'm going to describe the stars, what I go off of, these reviews right here. So usually people just look at this and goes, it's got almost a 5-star, which is pretty good. I dig a little bit deeper. So I want to see the exact number, which is 4.6 out of 5 stars. And then I always look at the percentage of 5-star reviews. So this one, and I'll get more on this later at the end of the video. So this right here is very important to me. The 5 stars, the percentage of 5 stars. This is a good indicator on if the people's really happy with it. If it's a really, really good product, this number usually is a little bit higher. So people rating it 2, 1 stars really brings this down. All right, so that's the LeVoit. If I'm saying that wrong, please correct me. So we're gonna move on to, this is very similar to this LeVoit, just a lot more expensive. So this was a 2-pack, and I'm quite disappointed with this brand right here, Medify Airx, because everything, I did a whole lot of research on this, and everything that I seen said, even the questions on Amazon said this was made in the USA. There was a couple questions, where is this made? And it said right here in the United States, which it said Medify Air is a veteran-owned company. So I've got 2 of those bigger ones over there, and then these 2 small boxes, which I've unboxed one. And it said it's a small veteran-owned company. So I was a bit disappointed whenever I got these boxes. It was right here on the side of them. Well, they put the shipping sticker over this, and it got ripped off, but it says assembled in China. And this side right here, I'm pretty sure it says the same thing. But I always check on the actual filters themselves. If you want to see where something's made, there's always a sticker. So going back to this LeVoit right here, so it says, if it'll focus, it's right there. It says made in China. So always look at the product, because even the box, like these right here, the Medify Airx, like these boxes, you will not find where this thing's made anywhere on the filter, on the box. So even the bottom, like, there's not anywhere that would indicate where this thing's made. If that's important to you, if it's not, move along. But some people in this full comprehensive review, it's important to me. I'm sure some of the people that's watching this. So the filters, to get these things, I don't like how these things fit. Like, that just seems like that's a rattle point later on in this life of this filter to make noise. You can see the fan, which is right there. To check the filters, you squeeze these 2 little tabs, and the first thing that you notice about this thing is this filter is like air. It has absolutely no weight to it whatsoever. So let me do the little flashlight test. And I've already done this before the video, so there's one thing that I see right off the bat. And if you see that, leave that in the comments below what you see. So right here, like there's a big hole right there. And I know that's just like a carbon piece, but you can blatantly see that it's just a very poor construction on this thing. And the pre-filter is almost non-existent. It's just like a screen for like a window, so it may keep like a fly, like a big bug or something from going down in the filter, but that would absolutely not keep any dust or anything. So you really couldn't vacuum this thing. But that goes in there this way. So I actually, whenever I first opened it, I had it in there the wrong way. But it fits in there pretty decent. So it's got this little foam seal around the edge. And it's got this little pull tab, so it fits in there pretty tight. And it actually has 2 filters on this thing. So let me open up this other side. So I've got this one in there backwards as well. So this right here, and it doesn't have any arrows how this thing goes. Like there's no arrow saying airflow. The only thing that would indicate which way it goes is there's a little pull tab, and it slides in there. It's pretty secure whenever it slides in there, but the filter, there's just hardly anything to the filter itself. So this is the Medify Air. We'll turn it on just to hear it. So the touchpad, it's got a child lock, it's got a timer, 2, 4, 1, and 8 hours. And then it's got a dimmer. And then it's got 3 speeds, so that's low. Can't even hear it running, and can't even really feel it. So medium, definitely hear that. And definitely feel it. Like if you was sleeping beside this, like this would dry my eyes out if it was pointed like right on you. And that's high. So personally, I'm like about 4 feet away from this, and it's putting out quite a lot of air. Like I'm pretty impressed with the airflow on this thing, but it only puts it out like in it kind of like almost like a jet, like coming out right here. And it doesn't feel like it dispersed it at all. Like even though the look of it, it puts it out like right here in a jet. So it's pretty directional. So we'll turn this thing off. It's all touch, and that's like a glass type top. So it's really nice, looks really modern. And that was a 2-pack right here for $294. And the big thing on this thing, so it does 500 square feet for one of them. So a combination of both these right here, that would do 1,000 square feet. And I think on the box it says, yeah, it says 500 square feet every 30 minutes. And the other thing is, so 4.6 stars, and 80% of them was 5 stars. So that's on this unit right here. So really good review. So on Amazon, this looks very appetizing to somebody that's wanting to look at like filters. It would probably be a decent one. But let's get through the rest of the video, and then I'll have my full opinion on which one I would pick. So the third filter we have here, this is made by Bissell. So typically you would think Bissell, they make vacuum cleaners, right? No, they make air purifiers. But here we go. So this one has 1,217 reviews, 4.7 out of 5 stars. 82% rated this at 5 stars. So that looks really, really good. And this is the only filter out of all the filters that you see here. This is the only one with a regular HEPA filter. So I'll get if you Google what is a HEPA filter between a HEPA and a regular HEPA and an H13. So the difference is an H13 is a medical grade capable of removing a minimum of 99.95 particles at 0.21 microns. So a regular HEPA is rated to trap only 85 to 99.5 of 0.3 microns. So that's what this Bissell is rated at, 0.3 microns. So that's a bigger particle size, so it won't catch that small stuff. And how this thing sounds, so you hit that little button right there. It's got an automatic mode, which is you roll this little dial over to the left and it says automatic. It's got this cool little readout that I think is useless on here, and I'll tell you more why whenever I get to the next air filter. But this thing right here, I've seen it go up to like 3, and I've seen it go up to 4 one time. And that was whenever I put it in the kitchen and I was cooking, and I wanted to see, some of the reviews said when they was cooking and there was like really strong smells that it would kick up on high, and I wanted to see like what it would do. And this is supposed to go up to like 200 for like medium air quality and 400 for really bad air quality. And it's got this little light right here and it changes colors. But it's got 5 settings. So this is by far the loudest filter, and it puts out really good airflow from the top. So that's all the way on 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. 1's really quiet, you almost can't even hear it. So I really like the modern design. So it's got the little wooden legs, it sets up off, it's pretty sturdy. On high, I do notice though, if you put your hand on it, it has a vibration in this filter. And if you look with a flashlight at the fan, I don't know if this is going to show up on the video, but the fan really wobbles. Like it has a very severe wobble to it. So I don't know the longevity of this thing. Hoping that the camera picks that up, but the fan, it's moving at least a 1/4 of an inch. So that is probably the vibration. It's just poorly manufactured. This thing's made in China. The pre-filter, which is almost nothing, this is it. So if you're gonna vacuum something, it gets dusty, this would be it. But I don't really think this is gonna catch anything. So you just pull out right here, and this is it. That's the pre-filter. You can pretty much just see through it. It's nothing to it. So we'll set this thing over to the side. The HEPA, which this is not a H13 medical grade, this is just a regular filter. It does not seal around the edges. So you can see the movement. I'm not really impressed with the filter. Like, it just kind of flops around. It should have a seal. At least it has an arrow saying front. But this is, I mean, it's got some weight to it. It's not like the other ones. This filter, it's at least 1 pound. So I'm pretty impressed with the weight of the filter. So I would say that it probably filters pretty good. I don't really have a way to test the air quality, but I'm really impressed with this too. So this is the carbon filter, and this is what eliminates any odors that you have. So this feels like about 2 pounds of just solid carbon. So this is pretty thick, and that together, so you can see, both how thick this thing is, and then there's the fan. So they're not much to these things, like as far as it's basically just a fan and a filter, and you get what you pay for. And as far as this thing being as much as it is, right at $300. So this one right here is $279 on Amazon. So with tax and everything, it's over $300. But I'm not really impressed with the filter on this thing. I'm just not with the edges. And this thing right here, the pre-filter, this is almost non-existent. So moving on to the Medify Airx. This is the Ma-40. So these two boxes right here, this is a combination of two filters for $4.99. So this is about $2.50 a piece. And if you look at the reviews right here, so out of 4,000, oh, I just turned it on. So out of 4,908 reviews, this was rated at 4.5 stars. At 78% of them rated it a full 5 stars. And you see that $4.99, that was a 2-pack. I think one of them is like 280 bucks though. So if you just buy one of these, it's 280. Now one of them does 840 square feet, and it says right here on the box, it'll do 840 square feet every 30 minutes. So it'll do 420 every 15. And the marketing on this brand, which is the Medify, it's by far, if you look at all these boxes right here, if you was in a store, which one would you buy? You would buy this one right here, because the marketing is amazing on this box. So if you look at the filter, if this picture right here, this is like, wow, it's got this filter plus this plus this. So you're thinking this thing has 3 filters: a pre-filter at HEPA H13, and it removes dust, pollen, smoke, germs, and pet dander. It's also got an ionizer, which I'll show you that feature in a minute, and it's got an oversized activated carbon filter, odors, VOCs, and formaldehyde. And it also, right here on the box, it seems like this is the best one out of all the filters. So it's 99.9 up to, and it also up to, or down, particles down to 0.1 microns. So out of all the marketing on all these filters, this one does the best job. So it's a color box. So here's what you actually get. You get this. And if you look at it, it looks really modern, really well made. It's got a touch, which I'll show you. You turn this thing on, it's all touch. It's like a smartphone type glass. Yeah, it feels like a glass touch thing. So it's got a child lock right there. It's got a timer, 2, 4, 1, and 8. It's got 3 speeds, and then it's got an ionizer. So that's on low, and it puts out quite a bit of air right there, just on low. That's on medium. So if you're gonna sleep, depending on how much noise you like, that would probably be a good sleep to just on the 3. The 4 would be just a bit too much. Or actually not 4, that's 3. So it's got 3 levels and then a sleep. Let's see what sleep is. Sleep is just barely nothing. Sleep's almost like low. I think sleep and low is the same, it just turns the light out. Yeah, sleep just turns the light out, except that one light, which that would probably bother people sensitive to light. So then it's got an ionizer. You can put it on, and it says that it doesn't put out ozone, or somewhere on the box it says that it is within the limit. So whatever the limit is of ozone, I don't know what that is, and the box does not specify. So we'll turn that thing off, and this is how you change, check, or install the filter. So whenever you first unbox this thing, right here, so it's got these two little tabs. So it's really cheap plasticky, and this hurts your finger when you're trying like to get this thing out. Like this is like incredibly sharp. So I'm not impressed with this at all. This is like the cheapest plastic you could ever imagine. And then you got this filter, which it fits really tight in there. So I'm pretty impressed with the fitment. Unlike the Bissell, which is very loose in there. So this is it looks like a chrome, but that's actually like a cardboard right here. But this filter right here, so it's got some weight to it. It's not like a piece of paper, but all the weight is all this charcoal in the back. So unlike the Bissell, which has the separate charcoal, which I like, this filter, if it didn't have that much charcoal in the back, it would be almost nothing. Like this, I don't know if you can see that, but the filter is just so thin, like it just mushes in. It's like there's no structure to it. So I'm not impressed with the filter. Looks like it's already got some dust and something slipped by the edge of the filter already. But it fits in there pretty tight. But this right here is just the worst. Trying to open up the filter, like if you was wanting to vacuum it off. And something else, this pre-filter, so that's what the box shows. That's what you get. So that does not look nothing like this as far as oop. So that right there just doesn't meet my expectations. Is the main thing that you're paying for. It's a very expensive fan, and all the money should have been put in the filter, and you can see that it just wasn't. It right there, it doesn't even, I guess it popped in. Yeah, it doesn't, this right here is probably the biggest disappointment out of all of them. But moving on, so the last but not least, so we have this Alen BreatheSmart 45i, and it's got the lowest of all of them. So it's got 269 reviews, 4.8, and pay attention to this number right here. So 90% of the people that bought this rated it 5 stars. And I bought, so I printed this out wrong, so I bought this one right here. It's the same exact one except the filter. So dust, mold, pet odor, smoke, and this model right here is actually for heavy odors. And I'll tell you the difference in a minute. So $439, I think I paid right at $500 for this. So I printed out, it's like the same, basically the exact same filter, just a different filter inside. So to check the filter, pull here. So this one is probably the easiest to actually look at and check your filter. So it's like a magnetic right here and here. So there's 3 magnets, and then there's a little button right here. I like this sticker. It's got your filters if you want to order another filter for it. So right from the get-go, you pull this out, which the filter, it fits extremely tight. It's got this foam right here. It's got the Velcro. So this is the pre-filter. So this is if you want a pre-filter and you want to vacuum something off, this is what you want. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and you can tell it's got some carbon in it. And this will extend the life of your HEPA filter. And just poking that HEPA, I mean, it's pretty sturdy. It's not like, it doesn't feel like air. So that Velcros, I really like that. And you can already see that it's got some particles on it. And you pull this fits extremely tight. And look how thick this thing is. So you can't really tell exactly how thick the HEPA is, but it's got a whole lot of carbon in there, which you can see. And you can definitely hear it. So this is industrial silver carbon. There's the model number. So as you can see, and this filter is by far the heaviest. I think it says this filter has 2 pounds of carbon in it. So whatever the HEPA weighs plus the carbon. So it's probably, this thing's probably closer to 3 pounds. Very impressed with the filter. And it fits in there so tight, as you can see me trying to slide that thing in there. So there's nothing getting around the edges of this thing. I'm really impressed with the pre-filter because that's what you vacuum off. So if you want to extend the life of your HEPA, just keep that thing vacuumed off. And then I'm really happy with how this thing magnets to it. The other thing that I want to hit on is this touch panel. It's all touch. You hit it on and you can see that it went to green. So air quality. Whereas the Bissell has that air quality, and I said that the number never moves and it doesn't really adjust even if you're cooking in the kitchen. This thing right here, so I was just cooking some eggs and they just put out just a little bit of smell. I watched it, so blue's the best, then it goes to green, which is slightly bad air quality, then it goes to yellow, which is in the middle, then it's got red, and then it goes to purple. So while I was cooking, I watched this thing go from green to yellow to red, and then it went to purple. And this, if you let it go like on auto, it'll automatically ramp up the speed to get it back down to the blue, which is the best. So the light, you can turn it off completely. So if you don't like any light, you can hit that. So if you're sleeping, it's got a little filter indicator right there. It's got an ionizer. And that's the second speed. So it's got 4 speeds total. So that's the third speed. And let's hear it on T, which is turbo. So it's not really loud, surprisingly, on turbo. And it's got a pretty good sound. So out of all these filters, this filter on high, it puts out quite a bit of air. Like, I mean, you can't really hear it. Like, it's pretty quiet. It doesn't vibrate at all. Like, you can't even feel it on. And I haven't looked down in there, but I don't think the fan's wobbling. Shine the flashlight and see if this thing's wobbling. It's pretty smooth in there. Oh, I see. So that fan, it has a weight on it. You see that little shiny thing? So that fan, they balance that fan. So that's why it doesn't shake and vibrate. So it's got a little weight on it, clipped onto the blade. But it's really quiet, and if you stuck around this far, so this one right here is my absolute favorite. So it's Alen, and it's made by Alen. That's the brand. It's a BreatheSmart 45i, and this thing, it does 800 square feet. and it says that it does 800 square feet in 1 hour. And it's also got the H13 HEPA filter, which filters down to 99.99 particles. So out of all these filters right here, I would say the Medify Air has the best marketing, but the absolute worst filters. So if I had to rate these things from worst to best, this would be my order. So even though it's the smallest, this one right here would be just the worst. Like, the filters on it, they're just so thin and they just feel like a paper plate. The LeVoit, and it has some of the highest ratings as far as, which it is the cheapest. So 212 reviews, #1 new release, so it's pretty popular on Amazon. They're really pushing it. 4.6 stars. So that one would be the absolute worst. The second worst would be this Medify Airx, and this specifically is the Ma-25. So it's got 4.6 stars, 3,527 reviews. And the filters is just so thin, they just feel like air. The third worst is the Medify Airx Ma-40. It's the same thing with the filter, and in my opinion, if they would have kept the same design as this is actually a pretty good design. Like, you squeeze it to check the filters, but the bigger one, they made this, the design on this is just terrible, trying to get this pinched, and it's so sharp right there to push, and it doesn't fit in the side right here good. Like, it doesn't, once you snap this thing out, like, it doesn't want to, like right here, like it doesn't want to, oh, I just pushed it. Like, you shouldn't be able to do. So this is snapped in at the top, and it's snapped in at the bottom. Like, that's how thin this plastic is. It's just really, really cheap made. And that's $499 for 2 of these right here. So keep that in mind. So $500 for 2 of these things. #2. So second place, you get the Bissell, which it's only $279 for this thing. But the downfall for it is the filter. So it's not a HEPA H13. So it's just the regular HEPA. And I don't like the pre-filter. And the downfall is this filter right here. This is like the most important part, and they didn't even put a seal around the edge, so it just fits so loose in there. The dust and dirt can go around it. And first place goes to the Alen. So this is the BreatheSmart 45i. The ease of use, I like the touch screen, I like the features, I like the ionizer, that you can turn that thing off, you don't have to use it. The speed, it's got a good sound to it. If you're sleeping and you don't like light like me, you can turn it completely off. To check it, I like this. I love the pre-filter right here. You can vacuum this off. And the best part right here, this filter is amazing. If I had a scale, I'd weigh that. I'm guessing that's at least 3 pounds. 2 pounds of it is the charcoal. So definitely recommend this, and get the heavy odor or heavy smoke model if you want to get that activated charcoal. Here's the filter specs on this. So 99.99 it removes. So here's the 3 filters that you can get. You can get the pure filter, so it's dust, mold, and pet. You can get #2, which is fresh, and it's got 0.66 of activated carbon. And then with the one I got is this one: smoke, filter, dust, mold, pet, heavy smoke, 2+ pounds of activated carbon. So that's the filter that I just showed you. And the replacement filter, it's a bit pricey for this, but in my opinion it's worth it. I think it's like $80 or $90 for a filter, but they last up to a year. So they're antimicrobial H13, and you can read all that if you want to pause the video. But perfect. Like if I had to pick one, it's amazing. Now I will show you briefly over here. This is the filter that I've been running for 14 years, and you can see I don't like light. It doesn't have a button to turn the lights off, so I've put tape on them. And to look at the filter, so it's got 2 buttons. You push on the sides, and there's the HEPA on it, and you can see that it's really dirty. And you can see why I like the pre-filter, because I vacuum that off. So that's like that 1/8 of an inch charcoal piece. And then you got this filter, which is really well made. This thing's pretty heavy too. Alright, so that wraps up today's video with the air filters and what I think about them, my opinion. That's my opinion. Based on the reviews, I did a whole lot of research on these things. Just the ease of use, the one I would pick would be this one right here in the middle, the Alen. Just based on, because the most important piece in these filters while we buy them is the filter. So if it doesn't have a good quality filter and it doesn't seal around the edges, then in my opinion, if it's just like a paper plate or a piece of toilet paper, then you can just go ahead and hang it up, and it's not really worth filtering your air that you breathe. So thank you so much for watching. These videos take a huge amount of my time to edit. Some of these videos take 20+ hours, and you can see that I printed out all these papers and did a whole lot of research on this thing. So if you would, smash that like button and click the little subscribe button if you're new here, because there's going to be a whole lot more coming to this channel. Thanks for watching.